Welcome to episode 5 of our 7-episode season here. This is going to be a great one. The title of today's episode is The Sniff Stairway to Heaven, right? The Sniff Stairway to Heaven, which kind of sounds like you should do cocaine or something. And that's not what I'm recommending at all. But I'm like the sniff your way to heaven. It's not what I'm talking about. I just thought it was a funny name. And so I went with it. And if we think about where we have been and how we've gotten here, right, we've covered a lot of the operating system of a social media boss and someone who knows how to get clients. And we've talked about establishing your credibility and the connection on your social media. So when you reach out to people who don't know you and they do a quick judgment of you, you don't look like a weirdo, right? And you look like someone who's credible. And they're like, oh, I'll get back to you. So there's that. And then we talked a lot about the kind of the rules to conversational income and how to turn conversations into money. And then last week we went deep into the CSW model, right? Cheese, sniff test, wonderful adventure model. And we talked a lot about the messages, the opening messages and the scripts and the cheese. And it was really, really, really good. And now following the system, we're at a point where some of you have already started sending messages to prospects and stuff, and you have people getting back to you, you businesses replying. And it's time for the next step, which is how do we turn these responses and these conversations into closes, right? And so that is what the Sniff Stairway to Heaven is about. It's not about white powder. The one note I want to make, and this will just kind of give you, I think, some context to where we are at in the culture and in social media specifically. The High Status Summit was last week. That was why, by the way, we had to switch this call to Wednesday because I was flying back from the summit all day on Monday. But at the summit during the pre-day, some of you may have been there was about 100 people there. And I asked them, I said, hey, how many of you, when you go on a web page, like a sales page, and you see testimonials in the sales page, how many of you believe those testimonials? Raise your hand. 0 hands went up. 0. Not 0. Right? 0. And I said, okay, well, what if it's not a written testimonial, but it's like a screenshot of someone's Stripe account or their Shopify account or from a Facebook group and them talking about what happened? It's a screenshot. How many of you believe a freaking screenshot of something that happened? Raise your hand. About half, right? About half. So think about that. 0 people from my anecdotal sample size believe a testimonial, and only half believe a screenshot. A screenshot! I don't know Photoshop. I don't know, I don't even know how to do that stuff, right? But they still, nope, it's Photoshop. Nope, it's real, right? Haters are gonna say it's Photoshop, whatever, right? So here's what I'm saying. Everyone is incredibly skeptical nowadays, more so than ever before. And you should be, because you are blasted with 4,000 ads a day. Your brain has learned to just tune everything out, and it wants to tune everything out because if it can't tune something out and call it bullshit, then it has to pay attention to it. And your brain is a cognitive miser. It does not want to pay attention to anything. It wants to be lazy as hell, right? And so that's the psychology behind it. My point, though, is that you as a social media boss are reaching out to businesses and you're trying to sign them up. They don't know you from Adam. They don't. And so because they don't have rapport with you, they don't know you, do you think that they're predisposed to believe you? Probably not, right? There's an uphill battle here, which is why, I just want to recap very, very quickly. The CSW model, right, which is why it looks like it's 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. We have cheese, we have the test, and we have the wonderful adventure, right? And the cheese is, that's the dream come true for them. That's how we get them replying. It's that siren call they can't resist. And then the sniff test, this is what we're talking about here today for the most part. And we're talking about Wonderful Adventure, but we're talking about this. And in the sniff test, this is about, one, it's you sniffing them out, right? It's totally you sniffing them out to see if they are a 5-star prospect. Meaning, are they willing to engage in a dialogue? Are they friendly and cooperative? Do they know what they want? Do they know when they want it? Do they want our help with it? 5 stars, right? You're sniffing them out to see, are they a 5-star prospect or not? If they are, they're going to be a great fit. If they're not, then it's just not the right time, right? We're not trying to turn no's into yeses. We're trying to identify the yeses so we can get them signed up. At the same time, they are, and they're doing this, by the way, no matter what you want it, whether you want it to be true or not, they are sniffing you out to see if you're legit or not. Legit is not a professional term. I'm just saying if you're credible or not, if you're legit or not, is this person the real deal or not? More importantly, it's like, can I trust this person or not? Should I trust them? Can I trust them, and can I trust them to deliver the result, the cheese that they were talking about, right? They're sniffing you out. And people in this phase, when you are having a conversation with the prospect over chat or over email, and you're trying to get them to the point where they're interested and they're like, yep, let's get started. This sounds great. They resort back to promises as the way to try to get the prospect to do the thing. You're going to get this result. I promise you'll get this and you'll get this. They talk about all the features and the benefits and the promise and the promise and the promise. And again, we just said, no one freaking believes anything anymore. So if they don't believe what you're saying, why do you keep saying things that they don't believe? It doesn't make any sense. This is why people lose prospects and lose out on sales. I don't make any promises. I report. There's a big difference. I don't make promises. I report. I report what is happening with other clients, and I'm insinuating it could happen with you, but I make no promises. And in fact, everyone responds to that because they know it's not bullshit. We're craving, literally, we are like a culture craving for things that aren't bullshit. That's like what we're looking for, right? This is the standard our society has come to, right? And so what I'm saying is, instead of just coming with promises and promises and promises in the sniff test, let's take the stairway to heaven. And the stairway to heaven is paved with proof, not promises. So I don't make promises in the sniff test, in the sniff phase. All I want to do is bring out proof. And if I sign them up after one proof, great. And if they have questions, I'll just throw more proof at them. Like literally my default is just more proof. It's just more proof and a nudge. And usually it works, right? And so we're going to get into some detail about how this is going to, how it's going to work. And just so you guys know, this is literally what is working right now at this very moment. This past week so far, it's Wednesday. My agency, we've signed 4 clients since Monday, 4 new ones who combined have about 11 million followers on Instagram and about 40 million followers on social media. If you combine them all, these are big clients. And there's a lot more in the pipeline, and it's just, this is what's working right now. So if we can sign up clients, we have 20 million followers, you can certainly sign up local businesses using the exact same intel. All right. So let's get into it. Someone said that's the biggest mug ever. Thank you. Natalie saw me drinking these mugs and she was like, you drink so much tea, it's gonna be easier. Let me just get you bigger mugs. So let's look at the sniff stairway to heaven. I want you to draw something. It's gonna look like this little stairway. And just like that, right? And so what the stairway looks like is the first thing we want. This is when we send out, I'm just gonna draw, actually put this over here just so we have it as a reminder for everybody. Right, we've got cheese, sniff test, and then we've got the wonderful adventure. And so once we send out our cheese and we get the cheese right, we're gonna get mostly what we want, which is what? A reply, right? We get a reply from someone. That's the first step. We need to get the reply. Once we get a reply, which a lot of you have already gotten, I've seen in the Facebook group because you sent the messages, you got replies from businesses and you're like, Jason, people are replying, the fuck do I do now? That's what we're gonna talk about here, right? So you get replies and you want replies. Replies are good. People who do not reply to you, are they a 5-star prospect? No, they've already outed themselves. They're not a 5-star prospect. Again, what is a 5-star prospect? Willing to engage in a dialogue, friendly and cooperative. Those are the first 2 stars. Willing to engage, friendly and cooperative. If they don't reply, they're not willing to engage. They're a 0-star prospect. That's just not the right time, and that's fine. Someone replies, but they're a dick. Yeah, they're a 1-star prospect. They're willing to engage, but are they friendly and cooperative? No. And you're not going to turn a dick into a client. I don't think you want to anyways, right? And so we get a reply. That's the first step, right? We've already talked a lot about how to get a reply. The next thing we need to do in the conversation, for those of you who've already gotten people replying, the next step is qualification. right? It's qualification. And what we're going to do with this qualification is we're going to allow them to tell us, are they at least a 3-star prospect or not? Because with one qualification, again, to make it to be a 3-star prospect, what are the qualifications they need? Willing to engage in a dialogue, they're friendly and cooperative, and they know what they want. They know what they want, right? And so what we do in qualification is we're going to ask one question here, and based on their answer, we'll know if they're 3-star, possibly 5, or they're not. So they're going to out themselves, which is how you want it to go, right? So you send out the cheese, right? You send out the cheese, you get a reply. Now we are in the sniff phase. This is the sniff test phase, right? So you're going to reply back with the qualification, and there's typically, there's 3 things that you can qualify them on: time, commitment, and money. Now, when you reply, I don't want you to qualify them on all 3, nor do you need to. These are just the 3 that you can qualify them on. And it's really going to depend on what it is that you are offering them, right? If you are offering them, if it's like coaching that you're offering someone, and let's say it's an 8-week coaching program, for instance, then maybe you want to qualify them on time, right? And that might be the one qualification that you ask. Maybe it's a Facebook ad or SEO with your private labeling that, right? And that's what you're going to do. And in that case, maybe you want to qualify on commitment. Maybe you want to qualify on money, right? And I'll show you how to do each of these. So if you are qualifying on, let's say, time, the language pattern we like to use for all our qualifications is this: to get X would require, to get X would take me Y time. Would that be okay? It's usually something like that, right? To get X would take me Y time. Would that be okay? So I send out the cheese. I tell them about the whole thing I'm doing, whether it's a guinea pig or a case study or a whatever. There's a lot of different ways we talk about the big ideas, the cheese and the proof, right? And now they're kind of interested. And I'll message them back. I'll say, hey, thanks for getting back. Yep, really, really excited about this too. I just want to make sure to get X, to get that result, to get the cheese, the thing we just talked about in that first message, to get that might take me 6 weeks, or might take us 6 weeks. Would that be all right? And this is where we're qualifying. Because if they respond back and they're not an asshole, that means they're friendly and cooperative, right? So that's a 2-star prospect. And if they say, yes, that's okay, then I know what they want, don't I? I didn't have to ask them what they want. I just implied it, and they said, yes, clearly that's what they want. So they're at least a 3-star prospect, and we have them playing our game, right? We have them playing our game, and they're friendly and cooperative. This is good, right? We're well on our way. So that's how we qualify for time. If it's commitment, you might say something like, to get X result or the cheese, it means it might require you to do at least one thing every week that scares you. Would that be okay? If it was like a coaching program, right? Or to get this result would require that you may have to have some difficult conversations that you've been putting off. Are you open to that, right? So you can qualify them on their commitment, right? Or if it's money. A lot of people are like, well, I don't want to sell stuff to people who don't have money. How do I find out if they have the money to buy what I'm selling before we get there? Because I don't want to just ask them straight out, hey, do you have enough money before I sell to you? Because then I give the whole thing away. Like how do I do it? Here's how we do the money one. We say, to increase, let's say something like this, to get at least 10% more profit next month in your business might require you hiring someone part-time at about $1,500 to $2,000 a month. If that was going to get you 10% increase in profits, do you have the budget to hire someone like that if we see that it's necessary? And what a question like this does is it gets them to say either yes or no. If they say, yeah, we could do that if it increased profit, great. Forget about the hiring person. All they just told you is that, yes, if you could get me a 10% profit, I would spend $1,500 to $2,000 a month to get that profit. That make sense? So you're qualifying them on money, and they just said they had it. right? It's a better way of saying, do you have the money? Because instead of me saying, by the way, my shit costs $2,000 a month, do you have it? Like, that's not, can't ask someone that, right? But instead you could say, hey, you know, to increase your profits 10% by next month. Sometimes we often find with clients that it really helps if they can hire someone part-time for about $1,500 a month. Would you be able to swing that? Right? And now I've gotten the money commitment because they tell me, yep, I could afford that $1,500 a month. Forget the hiring part. They just told me they got $1,500 to spend on it. Great, right? And now they're qualified, right? And what's good about this also is it builds trust, right? This is like taking a step back. Like in your message, your opening cheese message, you were excited, you're kind of aggressive, but you weren't too pushy, not at all. You were non-needy. And so they're kind of interested. And now that they're a little bit interested, you take a step back, which only amplifies their interest a little bit more, right? Because instead of saying, when they get back, yeah, I'm interested, you go, great, here's my link, let's get started. Like, that's kind of needy, that's kind of desperate. Instead, they're like, yeah, I am interested. And you go, great, hold up, by the way, do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? Okay, just making sure. It builds a lot of trust. Wow, this person doesn't just want to work with anyone. They're very particular about who they work with. Clearly, they know who they can help and who they can help. And based on my answer, they realize that they can help me. It builds trust a lot. Okay, so that's qualification. What happens after qualification? After they get back to you and you say, you know, to get this result would take us maybe 6 weeks. Would that be okay? And they go, yep, 6 weeks is good. I can do that. The next thing you're going to say is, great. What I'd love to do now is send you a quick video overviewing how it might work. What's your email? Right? What's your email? And so, by the way, if you're talking to them through email, you don't have to say this message. Hopefully you got that. You would just get to the next step, right? So if you're on email, you might say something like, great, sounds good. Would it be cool if I make a quick like 2-minute video overviewing the process and how it might work? Question mark. Just get like what I want to do with these chats, by the way, and we've talked about this in other episodes, is I always want to get permission from them because then it gives me permission to keep selling them, right? And obviously it builds compliance momentum and all those kinds of things. So it's like, instead of just saying, so if I was like, to get this result, would take this time, would that be okay? And they go, yes. If you just went, great, here's a video of how it might work, it feels pushy. But if I say, great, you know what I'd love to do is actually just record like a quick 2-minute video overviewing how the process might work. Would it be okay if I send that over? They're like, yeah, now it doesn't feel pushy because they gave me permission to send that over. Does that make sense? It's a big difference in the way that we do this, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to email them. If I'm on Instagram, if I'm on LinkedIn, I'm going to get their email and I'm going to email them a video, exactly like I just said, just overviewing the process of how it might work, right? And so what do you say in this video? What does it look like? What do you do? So what I'm going to do instead is I am actually going to demonstrate for you guys how the video should look first. So let me do this. Okay, so you guys can see my screen here. So what I like to use is this website called right here, awwapp.com. It is just an online whiteboard. Right, you guys can see the screen and I can draw on it, I can type on it, I can make rectangles on it, etc. And so what I'll do when I make this video for someone, right, is I will start the video, it'll look like this, and I'll go to this thing here. So there's this thing everyone here needs to download called Loom. If you don't have Loom, you're gonna get Loom, right? It's completely free. And just so you guys can see how often me and my team use it, I think this account is like maybe 60 days old. You can see right here, 215 Loom videos that we've recorded already. Like I use Loom for everything all freaking day. It's just over and over and over and over, right? And so you're gonna download Loom, it's free. And what it is it's a screen recorder. So if I hit this button right here, all right, and I hit that, I'm recording my screen. Now the Loom video has started. It is recording my screen. It's recording my audio. You can see my face in here. Faces build trust, which is why we use Loom. So the client, we just said we're going to send a 2-minute video overviewing the process of how this might work. And so I use it on Loom. I want them to see my face, right? I want to be trustworthy. And so I'll start the video and I'll say, hey, name, thanks so much for getting back to me. I know you must get a lot of those random messages and stuff. I know I certainly do. So anyways, let me just show you how I think this might work. And just so you know, I'm not full of shit. Here is that proof that I sent you before. And I just re-show the same proof I already showed them. Again, proof, proof, proof. Here's the proof. Here's why it's not bullshit. So let me show you how it worked with them and how it might work for you. And then I draw, right? And I'll draw something like this. I'll say, so on this side, if this is you, and over here is us, basically for you and what it would take from you guys is basically don't change anything, right? You're doing a great job. You guys are crushing it. You're making great money. Your business is awesome. You don't need to change anything with this. And on our side, what we do is we will handle, basically what we do is we are a bolt-on revenue stream for you, right? So you don't have to do anything. We just tack it on and the money starts coming in. It's completely hands-free for you. In addition, we handle all the back end and the setup integration, so you don't have to do any of that. We also will, I will personally, I'll write the copy and the marketing for you. So I do all that personally. It's not a team member. That's part of the deal. And then obviously we'll have our chat team go to work for you and do everything in your business for you in terms of chat closing and things like that. And so that's basically how it works, man. And like I said, here's what happened with this other case study, this other person. They got this proof. I love your content. I think you're a great fit, and would love to hear your thoughts. Bye. And that's my whole video, right? And once you get done, by the way, Loom's already recorded it. It is literally right here. The video has started. It is recording my screen. Here's the proof. It's very meta right now, isn't it? So like a Zoom video of a video. It's wild. But I take this video, I copy the link, and then I just send them the video, right? That's it. There's no phone calls necessary, no long conversations. Like, they don't want to talk on the phone. They have all this stuff going on. They have all this other time, etc. They just give me a 2-minute video overviewing it. And notice in the video, did I actually explain how it works? No. I drew something that looked like this, and I said, don't do anything, we'll do everything, and I think you'll end up with money just like this other person over here, proof that I've showed you. So we'd love to hear your thoughts. Talk soon. That's all I said. This, by the way, this right here is called an US model. I don't know why it's called an US model. It's just a little T, but they call it an US model. And I recommend you use it. And it just delineates basically, like, the reason I use an US model to sell mine is because the irresistible part of my offer is they don't have to do anything. My client doesn't have to do anything at all. And they just get paid a lot more than they were before. So I want to highlight that fact. So in mine, I just say you, and then I say us, and I say you. What's the scariest thing in the world to people? It's change, right? Oh, so I say, don't change anything. They're like, oh, this is the safest thing ever, right? Don't change anything. And then I say, we're a bolt-on revenue stream, which is a nice little metaphor to describe what we do. We're a bolt-on revenue stream. We'll handle the back end. I'll do all the copy for you, which is a huge benefit to them. They don't have to pay for me to do their copy. And then we'll do all the chat stuff. And I don't want to make any promises how much we made, but someone very similar to you, here was the proof they got, proof, proof, proof. And so, really excited to try this with you. Love to hear your thoughts. That's it. No one has ever gotten back to me and be like, well, you didn't explain how it works. They don't care how it works. Understand this, when you are selling, they don't want to hear about TSA. They want to hear about Maui. That's it. So sell Maui, not TSA, okay? No one cares about TSA. They want Maui. So we send them the email and we do the video. And so your checklist for the video looks kind of like this, right? So for the video, I'll put this over here. Right, the first thing is trust and safety. Always trust and safety, right? So at the beginning of the video, I'll just say something very safe. Hey, thanks for getting back to me again. I know you must get a lot of those. There's that ethical mind reading. So really appreciate you getting back. I said, I know you must get a lot of these. I know I get a ton myself, right? So I'm edifying myself at the same time. Like, we are like, you're busy, I'm busy. So I appreciate us getting back to each other. Very simple statement. The next thing I do is proof, right? Thanks for getting back to me. And again, just so you know, I'm not full of shit, right? Very colloquial language, talking just like friends would. Here's the proof. The proof I already sent you. Why would I re-show them proof? Because people forget so quickly. They have so much going on. We are so busy. So they forgot. They just need to be reminded. So I show them the proof again, right? And I'll have it on the screen. It'll be a Stripe account, or it'll be a PDF or a Word document or someone's testimonial. I'll just re-show them the proof, right? Just remind them. After proof, I will draw the model, right? And that is exactly what I want you to do. You're going to draw the model. You can use the US model. I strongly recommend it. If you have a different one, then you can use a different one, right? That's totally fine. There's a whole training that I've done called Draw Everything. And I taught it to my mastermind members, and it's about how drawing is so powerful for selling. I think you should draw everything. You should always have a model that you draw. And so what we're going to do is in your episode 5 members area, I'm going to have my team add that entire hour-long training about all the different shapes you can draw and how to draw them to sell, et cetera. Let me just make a note to have my team add that. So I want everyone here to watch that. And what you may find is that the US model is exactly right for you, or you may find that there's a different model that's better. And I'll show you a bunch of different, basically, they're all a combination of circles and squares and triangles. And you'll just pick one, and it's simple, you'll see. But a drawing is a really, really good thing. Drawing makes you look like an expert. Experts have drawings, right? And so draw the model. We draw the model and we connect it to cheese, right? So I'm drawing the model, but I keep saying back, so, you know, to get this result, to get this cheese, to add, you know, somewhere between 30 and 50 grand a month to your revenue stream as this bolt-on revenue stream, you do nothing, we'll do everything. And at the end, we'll see something similar to here's what the proof did. You know, I want to keep reconnecting it to the vision or to the cheese for them. And then number 4, invite them on a wonderful adventure, right? That's all I said. It was very simple. I said, so, you know, we'll love to explore this with you. Let me know your thoughts. That's my invitation. No hard close here. Don't need it. You good marketing, good proof, good positioning, which is exactly what we've done to this point. Like we're pretty good. And they're usually ready to get started. Some options you can do here is I like Loom videos, right? For this third step. I like to do Loom. I like to do the video. You don't have to do Loom. You can do, I have a friend who sends people a slide deck. So he made like a 7-slide PowerPoint. I think half the slides are like quotes from Gandhi, but like he likes slides. It looks pretty and clean. And if you're good with PowerPoint, so you can use PowerPoint and you say, you know, in the qualification, you go, great. I'd love to send you a quick slide deck overviewing how this might work. Would that be cool? Yep, that'd be cool. Great. And you send them the slide instead of the video if you want to do it that way. And the slide can literally say exactly what the video was going to say. You can create a quick PDF, a 2-page PDF overviewing how this might work. Can I send that over? Great. So you can send PDF if you don't want to do video. If you want to get really tricky with it, and by the way, if I wasn't doing as much volume as I was, this is what I would probably do. I'd say, let me do a quick video for you. And they said, great, send it over. And then what I would do is I would make the video, and then I would host the video on a private web page. I would make the page something like jasoncapital.com. Let's say that the person's name was Joe Blow. So I'd make the page jasoncapital.com. I do not own, by the way, because some big ass corporation bought it and we can't buy it from them. But jasoncapital.com/Joe Blow.html or just Joe Blow, right? Who's not going to watch a video and click on a link with their name in the URL? We're egotistical as fuck. All right, we're clicking that shit, right? You can't resist it, right? And then it's the same thing. It's the video, but you just embed the video on that webpage. I'll show you guys one more trick when you record your video, which is really, really powerful. So I'll just pick someone big. So like Jay Shetty, for instance, right? Who's actually here in Puerto Rico. I'm going to hang out with him later. So like Jay Shetty, big guy in personal development. So if I go to his Instagram page, let's say I was making a video for Jay and he was like the person I was going after, right? Well, the way I would record my Loom video, you guys, it's not bad. Right, so this is Jay's Instagram, right? 5.2 million followers. And so if I was trying to get him, what I might say is something like, so I'd have, this. So the way I would do the Loom video is it would start like this. So I go to Loom. Start recording. Hey, Jay, hope you are doing great, man. Thanks for getting back to me. I really appreciate it. I know you must get a ton of those. I know I certainly do. So anyways, dude, I wanted to talk to you just really quickly, overviewing how I think this process might work. And so, and then I would go straight back to the whiteboard. But the first 10 seconds, that intro part of the video, it would be what? His Instagram. Why? Because he's going to watch the video if he sees that it's about him. You can't resist it. Anytime I would want to say anything, like even sell it all, I would get off the whiteboard and I'd go right back to his page and I would just talk on top of his page. So as long as it's on their page, they're going to watch. They can't help it because you might say something about them and they're just keep listening. Powerful, right? And so if it's a local business and they have 400 followers, it doesn't matter. Just go on their page and record the Loom with their page in the background. This is one of the hacks, all right? This is like the hack of all hacks. And you're going to get so much more engagement as a result of doing it this way. Okay. Derek said, that's badass. I clicked the link, cool. And other Derek said, dude, so many good nuggets in this training. Good. All right, yeah, we're killing it. All right, so let's go back to whiteboard here. So again, we get reply, we get qualification, and then we go to the email and we do the video, which works great. And then at that point, the next step, the last step, is really just getting the agreement that they're interested and they want to get started in the big idea, in the guinea pig, the case study, the test group, the 30-day sprint, whatever your big idea was, right? And what you're going to do here is you're either going to get an in, like, because at the end of the video, when you send it to them, you say, you know, just let me know if you're in or out, or if you have any questions, right? And so if they say that they're in, great, you get started. If they are not in, then typically what I would recommend is you do a quick Zoom chat with them, right? And this is not necessary, right? It's not necessary, but it's so much better if you can do it. Some people, like, you won't have to sell them on the Zoom. They just like, I'm in, they're ready to buy, but they're just like, I've never bought from someone that I've never talked to. And so, like, what I have seen in my experience is if you are selling something for less than $2,000, they don't need to talk to you. If it's more than $2,000, they probably want to just have a chat with you. 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes on Zoom, just to see that you're a real person and you're not some brilliant mastermind who took a Jason Capital course and just said what he told you to say, right? So you don't have to sell or anything on the call. It's more of, I'll go over what to do on the call. It's really quite simple though. But by the way, just so we're clear, like, I have had the most expensive thing I've ever sold in chat without ever talking to someone is for $75,000. So you can certainly sell stuff that costs more than $2,000. And it's not just me. One of my students, Sean Ferris, he's sold stuff for $7,000 in chat without ever talking to anyone on the phone, just typing messages. So you can certainly do it. And so we get the agreement, yes or no, that they are in. And here's a couple points. I'm going to talk about the call and some of this stuff in a second. But I just want to make a couple quick points about this part here, this transition. Because when you go from getting this, when you send them the video and you go, let me know if you're in or you're out or you have any questions, that's you making the transition and calling them out for a wonderful adventure, aren't you? Right? That's when you start to bridge from sniff test to wonderful adventure. Please, please, please remember this, internalize this, follow this rule. If when you invite them on this first wonderful adventure, and they have questions, they didn't just say I'm in, they have questions or anything like that, do not go and call them out for another wonderful adventure again until your gut tells you that the sniff test has been passed. Meaning, you send them the video, invite them in, out, have questions, they go, what about this, and what about this, and I want to know about this, and how does this work? If you just reply and you answer their questions, answer this, answer this, answer this, so where do you think we should go from here? Or, so shall we get started? You're usually going to lose them, right? You're usually going to lose them. So here's how I do it. If I send them the video and they're not in, they have questions, right? So I send them the video. I'm trying to get agreement, but they have questions. They're not ready to go. I will come back. I will answer their questions, and then I will loop back, but I will not invite them up to an agreement. I will add in like a middle step between the two. And that's typically where I go for a quick Zoom chat. So I'll answer their questions, and then I'll say, very important, this is advanced stuff, all right? I'll say, so answer this, answer this, answer this. Do you have Zoom? That's the whole thing. See, most people, they'll say, so would you like to get started? Should we sign up? Shall we do this? Blah, blah, blah. You're pushing for a wonderful adventure when you haven't passed the sniff test yet. You're gonna come off as needy, you're gonna come off as desperate, pushy, you're gonna lose them. You can't go for the adventure until you've passed the sniff test, and the sniff test hasn't been passed. And so I break it down. Instead of going from email to agreement, I know I'm still in the sniff test, so I'll put a middle step in there, which will be a quick Zoom chat with us to pass the final sniff test. And then instead of saying, let's do a call and then we can get started, call sounds like whiskers. It sounds scary, right? But if I say, do you have Zoom? How benign of a question is that? The implication, of course, is we're going to get on a Zoom call, but I didn't say, let's do a quick chat. I said, do you have Zoom? Right? It's like when you're closing someone in person, and let's say you need their name and their credit card. It's like you saying to them, hey, do you have your ID on you? And they go, yeah, sure. And they give you their ID, and you write down their name, and you go, here, let me trade you with the card you want to use. Right? Instead of just going straight for the card, you went for the easy one first. Same thing here. Do you have Zoom? Great. This day or this day? What time works for you? I'm free these days. What do you think? Right? So I'll put that middle step there in the middle, and then I'll pass the sniff test on the chat, and then we will get started from there. And then the agreement goes forward. Okay. One other thing I want to add here before we keep going is there are some unique cases where you'll have someone who kind of knows what they want, but they're not exactly sure what they want. And again, that third star, 5-star prospects, is they know what they want. We can't get them to a 4-star or 5-star unless they know what they want. If they don't know what they want specifically, then they're not going to be ready to buy. And so meaning we need to help them and we need to educate them as to what they should want before we can get them moving forward more. So what I'm saying is, an example, one of my clients, I was talking with her and she wanted to sell something high ticket, but she didn't know what she would be selling. So she's friendly and cooperative. She's willing to engage in a dialogue, but she's not sure like what it is that she would be selling to her audience. She wasn't sure about it. So she kind of knows what she wants, but she doesn't know exactly what she wants. And because she's uncertain about what she wants, there's no way we can move forward, right? And so what I did was, instead of trying to, hey, well, let me send you a quick video overviewing how it might work and we can figure that out later. No. I have to deal with this now. We have to confront. Like, we have to deal with it now. There's no way I'm going to get to the next step unless I handle this one. So instead of saying, let's do this and we'll figure it out, or let's just get started, instead of any of that, I said, hey, I totally get it. Why don't we, do you have Zoom? Great. Why don't we do a quick Zoom and me and you can just brainstorm a bunch of ideas about what it is you'll sell and see if we can find a winner. She was like, fuck, that sounds great. And then we did a quick Zoom and we helped map out what she was going to sell. And now, because she's confident and knows what she's going to sell, and I helped her do that, what do you think the next obvious step is? For us to go on a wonderful adventure together, right? And she was like, there was no selling. Like, once she knew what she was going to sell, she was like, great, so how do we get started? And now that I know what I'm going to sell, right? Far too many people try and push, but you can't go to the wonderful adventure until the sniff test has been passed. And so that's just another way to kind of make this happen. So here is what I want to know now. I'm only going to do this for a second because I got more I want to share with you. What questions do you have about what this stairway that we just talked about right now? About the 4 steps: reply and qualification, email, and agreement. What are the questions that you have? So you get said, if I was doing my 30-day cheese challenge for my agency, would it be better if I do a great video then send everybody that, or individually half-ass videos? Do great videos individually for everybody. Just so you guys know, everyone I talk to, I record their own Loom video just for them. Why not? How could I? If you do one video for every prospect, you're fucking lazy as shit, and you don't deserve to make a lot of money. Like that's just the truth. All right. Connor said, "How do you do directly access all their accounts, help them grow? So we sell them monthly help, but." Connor, please restate your question. I'm trying to understand, but I'm not sure I'm getting it. Connor Lee said, "What's the difference between selling our service to a client for $8,000 and selling it for 1.5K? What makes that happen?" So you're talking about pricing, and all pricing is elastic, right? So you can sell something for 1,500, you can sell it for $8,000. It makes no difference. Some people are just, people make decisions differently about different prices. That's really it. Renessa said, "What if they don't have Zoom or they don't want to get it? Then they're not a 5-star prospect. Move on." But if you put cheese in front of them, that siren call, they're not apt to just walk away. They don't want to. And it's such a small, bite-sized investment. Do you have Zoom? Right? And if they're like, "No, I've never been on Zoom," then you can go, "Cool. What's your phone number?" Right? I'll shoot you a quick text. It's literally that simple, right? We're just going to find out how we can talk with them and get on the phone with them or get on a Zoom with them. Yigit said, or Brian said, "Do you accept payments before you get them started?" So we're going to talk about offers in a second. That's an offer question. Jamie said, "What do we do in the Zoom chat?" I will go over that in a second as well. Nee said, "What are principles behind asking questions that are not direct but indirect and lead the prospect to implication?" Dude, it's all the principles we've covered up to this point. You know them. I mean, literally look at the entire stairway that we've talked about here, compare it to everything you've learned so far, and it's going to follow every single thing that you've learned so far. Fedel said, "What if you don't have any proof yet if they're your first client?" This is why I recommend a lot of people don't have this to private label with an agency, because if they're an existing agency, they already have proof. And the minute you private label with them, you just get to use their proof because you are partners with them now. Mike said, "At what point am I talking about costs to them and how am I talking about it?" We'll cover that in a second. Manib said, "Are we selling the process or the outcome in the Loom video?" Dude, I just told you that. Sell Maui, not TSA. Notice in my video, when I demonstrated for you guys, I didn't say anything about how we do it. I just talked about the outcome. You do nothing, we do everything. Here's the result you get. Here's what the others, excuse me. You do nothing, we do everything. Here's the result someone just like you got. So I think it could happen something similar for you. So let me know if you'd like to get started. Leo said, "Do we have to know what type of service we are providing before we're doing this?" Absolutely. Yes, you do. Robert said, "Do we send a screenshot of results or a PDF of results?" Yeah, Robert. So screenshots are fine in the video. So you can have them just pulled up as like a, whatever this thing is called, preview. You can have them there. I like to have Stripe already open to a certain client's account. And then on the screen, they can just see Stripe and it's clearly real money coming in, et cetera. And that works really well for me too, right? But that's because we're selling money. If you're selling something else, then you would need a different type of testimonial. But screenshots or like live bank accounts or a Facebook group where people are putting in success stories in the group, or an email you got from a client who is really happy, those are the kinds of things you want to show. Michael, we're doing all white label stuff in episode 6 next week. Jeremy said, "Do we have strategies to not get blocked from DMing the same message to people?" Yeah, if you change up your message by a couple words, you can usually get more messages out per hour. I think Instagram is at 16 messages per hour to people who don't know you before they'll block you for a few hours and you come back. And of course, if you want to be slick, you can certainly get someone else to do the outbounding for you. A family member, Fiverr.com, whatever you want to do. But just to be honest, so you guys know, like I do it myself for my own agency. I just prefer to do it because I don't trust anyone to do it the way I want it done. And it's very important for me, obviously. Miguel said, "Do you recommend tailoring cheese for each prospect?" Of course, man. Of course. Usually, basically on the niche, there's a certain type of cheese that everyone wants. So it's usually the same thing. But yeah, if they're a little bit different, or if I get some feedback from them that tells me their cheese is different than someone else's cheese, they're like, I know all my friends in my industry are like Swiss, I'm more like cheddar, then I'm just going to reflect cheddar back to them. Nick said, "I realized you used this on me, LOL, and it worked." Awesome. Lisa, I see your question. Earlier episodes will cover exactly what to say. Yes. Yep. And if you have questions, then just let me know. All right, so I see a lot of questions about offers and pricing and stuff, and we're going to cover that in a second. So let me just keep moving forward here. So the SNF Stairway to Heaven, right? So once we've done this, you're going to have a lot of people replying back to your video or on that quick Zoom chat with you saying that they're in. You're going to get people ready to get signed up, right? And by the way, actually, I'll just make a note here really quick. For the video, so just so you guys know, like I'm going to talk about offer in a second. My offer with my clients in my agency is you pay nothing up front, there is no setup fee, and there is no monthly retainer fee. We are partners. We split everything 50-50, right? It's kind of an irresistible offer. It costs you nothing to get started. You're gonna make a lot of money as we go forward, and we're gonna be partners. We're gonna work on this together and grow this thing together. So I say that at the end of the video, right? Sometimes I don't. But if your offer isn't free to get started, then there's other ways you can position it so it sounds really, really good. And in that case, I think when you invite them on the wonderful adventure down here, that's when you can mention price, right? And there's ways to position it. So let's say your price was $1,500 a month, right? The way I would position it is I would use a lot of anchoring. So if I was gonna do it, it would sound something like this. The first thing I would say is I would go back to the proof and their ROI, and then I would really quickly talk about the cost of inaction, right? And then I would anchor a higher price, and then I would reveal the actual price, right? So it'd be like this. So looking back at this other screenshot here, so I'd pull up the proof, and I'd say, you can see after they worked with us, they made an extra $22,000 in their first 30 days with us. This, of course, means if they hadn't done this with us, they would have lost $22,000 that month. That should have been theirs, right? And you have a very, very similar account. And so to me, it looks like you might be sitting on a similar amount of money that you're losing every single month. Now, normally when we do this for people, it's $6,500 a month, which is typically fair. Because like you saw with the last client, we made them $22,000. However, because we're doing this guinea pig thing, or because of X, Y reason, it's only $2,200 to get started. And then we'll go for 30 days. And it's a 30-day sprint to see how much extra revenue we can drive for you in those 30 days. My goal is to get the same 22,000 or more like we did for this other client. And if it works, then great. I mean, I assume that you'll want me to keep making money for you. And if it doesn't, or it makes less than 22, you might still be happy, or maybe not. And that's totally fine as well. So where do you think we should go from here? Let me know your thoughts. Look forward to chatting with you soon. That's all you got to do, right? So everyone who's worried, it's $1,500, it's $2,000. Understand, let me just rephrase, like help you with money. $2,000 is fucking nothing. I know some of you are like, no, man, I only have $800 in my bank account. I get that. I've been there. I've been broke. I have been bankrupt. I have had to move back in my mom's basement. I've had no money. I've had negative money in my bank account. I've done the thing where I'm fucking searching every drawer in my house, in my underwear drawer, looking for a fucking dollar. Like I've done all of that stuff. And I promise you, $2,000 is nothing. If you think about all the money in the world, and you compare it to like all of the dirt. Think about how much dirt is on planet Earth, right? $2,000 is less than 1 grain of sand of all the dirt and sand on Earth. If we took 1 grain of sand off the Earth, would anyone notice? No, that's $2,000. It's nothing, right? And since it's nothing, and you realize that, and emotionally you get that, then when you talk about it and you offer it to someone, like in a way that's going to make them $22,000 or something, like it doesn't sound like it's a big deal to you. And if it doesn't, put it this way, if when you talk to someone about money and it sounds like a big deal to you, it's going to be a big deal to them. But if it's to you like it's nothing and it's a no-brainer, of course they would do it, because the last client made $22,000 for $2,000. That's a great deal. And it's fucking nothing. And you act like it's nothing and it comes off like it's just very low-key, very like casual, then they're going to feel that way too. You're always influencing how other people feel. right? It's like if in a relationship, if a guy goes to a girl, he's like, honey, I think we should have a talk. And please don't get upset with me. Let's have a talk. She's going to be upset with you no matter what now. You just scared the crap out of her, right? How about you just start talking like it's no big deal? Just do it, right? And so it's the same thing here, right? So once you understand step one, that, and then the second thing, you position your price with all this other psychology stuff first, becomes very, very easy. And now, like, look what we did. This person made 22 grand. If they hadn't done it, that means they would have been sitting on and losing 22 grand. I think you're kind of similar. So you might be sitting on and losing the same 22 grand a month. You're like 22 grand, 22 grand, 22 grand. That's all they hear. So then when you reveal that it's normally 6,500, but because it's for this guinea pig experiment, it's only 2,200 for the 30-day sprint or whatever, it sounds much more affordable. I'm not saying immediately you're like, oh, that's a great deal, and they sign up. Like, understand this. Most of the time, crazy people will sign up with you right away with no objections at all, right? Normal people have objections. You will have to deal with them. That's life. It's okay. It's not hard, right? Someone's just immediately, if all the people you're talking to are like, I'm in, here's my money, I'm in, here's my money, with no resistance at all, you should be really, really scared, because those are crazy people. And as fast as they gave you money, they're going to take it away, and they're going to go tell 10 of their friends that you're the worst person ever, because they're crazy. This is what they do. Like, there's just people out there who are nuts. It's just part of life, right? Like, you guys know, you get a pack of Starburst, there's yellow ones in there. It's not all, like, life isn't all red strawberries and pink strawberries. There's some yellows out there, right? It's part of the game. Okay. So, let me clear this. All right. So let's keep going. A couple other things that are going to really make a big difference for you in making this work, right? Follow up. All right, follow up. In my own business, all my businesses, usually the number is we make 7 times more money from the follow-up than we do from the initial conversations. 7 times more money from the follow-up than we do from initial conversations. Here's what this means. You may get someone at any point of these steps to stop responding, meaning they reply to your cheese, and then you ask them a qualification. They may not respond to your qualification. That person needs to be followed up with typically 2 to 3 days later. Maybe they respond to your qualification, and then you ask them for their email, and they don't get back to you. 2 to 3 days later, that person requires a follow-up, right? Maybe you send them the video, they don't get back to you. 2 to 3 days later, that person requires a follow-up, right? Maybe you send them the video and they watch it and they get back to you and you say, great, do you have Zoom? Right? We'd love to set up a quick time for us to have a quick chat, right? And they don't get back to you. That person requires a follow-up. Their non-response does not mean they're not interested. Their non-response means that they're busy. That's all it means. We're all busy, right? How many times have you forgotten to respond to someone that you actually meant to respond to? You do it all the time. They're no different than you. So it just requires a follow-up. That's it. 7 times the money in the follow-up. And the way I follow up, I'm going to give you guys some big scripts here, example. But the key is brevity in my follow-up. Brevity overall, right? Keeping it really, really short. So sometimes my follow-up messages will just be like this. Name, that's it. Jason, that's the whole message. Especially over like chat on social media. Works amazing, right? Name, another one. Everything okay? Right? If they don't respond to it, is everything okay? It's basically like they're ignoring their mom, right? No one wants to ignore their mom. So everything okay? Works really well. Another one, right? I got this from this book, Never Split the Difference. It was great. It was basically, so shall we give up on this project, right? Someone doesn't get back to you. Maybe it's the video. You send them the video, they didn't get back. Hit them back and just 2 to 3 days later, and you say, hey, or don't even say hey, just say, shall we give up on this project? No one likes letting someone else down, and they get back to you a lot of the time, right? Really straightforward. And then again, my favorite way to follow up with people, if we're in the sniff test phase, right? Only if we're in the sniff test phase, my favorite way is just got this proof. I would love to do something similar. Here. All right. So anytime, like understand this, anytime any of my clients get a really good result, which fortunately is like every day, I will take the proof that we get from them, and then I will send it to the people on my follow-up list who I think are warm, and I'll send them the proof, and I'll say, hey, just got this proof. Would love to do something similar with you. And if I feel like I'm being pushy, I'll even add something like, by the way, not trying to be pushy at all. I'm just a huge fan of yours, and I think this is a really good fit, right? Sincerity and flattery will get you out of almost anything, right? And that's all I'll say. And that one works really, really well because, again, we're leading with proof, not promises. Okay, so follow-up is very, very, very key. Now, let's talk about your offer, right? We've been talking a lot about how do you get questions, because we talked about how to do price, but what about your actual offers? So let me actually use a different whiteboard so everyone can see if we're running out of room. All right, cool. So let's talk about your offer. We'll call it, like the wonderful adventure, right? And so there's a checklist I like to use with the offer, right? So again, you have your big idea, which is going to separate your offer from basically everyone else already, whether it's a 30-day sprint or it's a case study or it's an experiment, or, there's a lot of things that we talked about last week for big ideas. And so the checklist looks like this. When I go for the offer, one, it should be a bite-size commitment, right? Like, that's why I said, like, we'll do a 30-day test, right? How much more comfortable are you committing to a 30-day test than just an indefinite $1,800 a month? No one wants to commit to a monthly thing that they don't know when it's going to end. That's scary as fuck. When it's just like, no, it's a quick 30-day test, like, they're in, right? People need a light at the end of the tunnel. I even would say 30-day test, if it crushes when you go to sort of retain them, I might even say 30-day test crushed. Let's do a 90-day test and really ante up here. Yeah, 90-day test, it is. They don't realize they just signed up with you for another 3 months, another 90-day test. And then after 4 months, then you could say, all right, let's just keep going, right? But the bite-sized commitment is really important. For instance, if I'm selling a monthly steak box, I get a box of a bunch of steaks every month, that's my offer. When I first sign someone up, I'm going to offer 3 steaks to start. 3 steaks for three dinners or something like that, right? When you start with a bite-sized commitment. When I sign people up, it's usually a 30-day sprint. We're going to do a 30-day sprint, see how much we can make in 30 days, and then we'll go from there, right? So your offer should be bite-sized commitment. It should just be, it's $1,500 a month indefinitely. That's a dumb offer, right? Second one, it should be whisker-free, right? Or as close as possible. It's not always possible, but it should be pretty close. For instance, again, my offer is $0 upfront, $0 retainer, $0 monthly fee or anything like that. Everything that we make is a margin of profit that you otherwise wouldn't be making. That's our offer. That is whisker free. You don't do anything, and all the margin of profit you're making is money that you wouldn't be making otherwise. We're doing all the work to create that for you. It's pretty close to whisker free as possible. So you want to make sure it's whisker free. And again, just put your offer together, write it on bullet points, and then look at it and say, where are the whiskers? And if you want help, go in the Facebook group, share with everyone else, and say, where are the whiskers? And let's see how we can turn them into cheese, right? Next one is obviously it should be cheese-based. Like, if I was signing up gyms, then my initial wonderful adventure offer would be like a 30-day sprint to see how many group sessions we can sell for them in 30 days. Even if your thing is Facebook ads, like your private label agency and it's Facebook ads, don't sell them Facebook ads. You need to sell them what Facebook ads will get them. And it should be directly related to the cheese that they want, which is as many group sessions as they can get. We'll do a 30-day sprint, see if we can get you as many group sessions as this other place did, and then we'll go from there, right? If I like it and you like the results, then of course we'll continue. And if you don't like it and I'm not into it or whatever, then of course we won't, right? That's it. Very straightforward. So we want it to be cheese-based. And then of course we can emphasize that it's done for you, right? Almost everyone here would be doing a done for you offer, which is the best kind of offer that there is. No one wants to do anything. Done for you is best. Done with you is after that. And then do it yourself is the third lowest on that scale, right? So like my offer is it's done for you. We're going to do all the work for you. You don't do anything. Right. So if you do have a done for you offer, like we're going to run all your ads and get you this many group sessions or people in your door, or fill up your restaurant or fill your gym to capacity, whatever it's going to be, then that's done for you. And you should highlight that. Right. And what I want to do is I want to give you an example of like, you're like, Jason, well, I can't do an offer where it's $0 up front and $0 retainer. Like, I don't know how to do that. What can I make my offer? So I have a friend, he invented something for gyms about, 10 years ago now. And it's an offer that is still working today, and almost every gym in the world has copied it, and it still works. And he calls it the 6-week, 20-pound challenge. Right? 6-week, 20-pound challenge. And here's how it works for a gym. It says like this. You come into the gym, you take the 6-week challenge with us. You're going to come to the gym 5 times a week for 5 workouts a week with the class. And it's going to be free. Here's how it works. You put down a $497 commitment deposit. And then after you lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks, you get your entire $497 back. We never cash the check at all. We just hand it right back to you. All right. It's a really good offer. Sounds very confident. It builds belief. Wow, this person must really think they can make me lose 20 pounds. This is great. Right? And it's all about cheese. Because what do people want? They want to lose a lot of weight in a short period of time. Let me just get rid of this blubber. I just want it gone. Right? And of course, it's a bite-sized commitment. He's not selling a 12-month gym membership. It's a 6-week challenge. But after 6 weeks, here's where it's really smart. They do the weigh-in at the end of 6 weeks. So everyone comes in, you got to weigh yourself to see how much weight you lost in these 6 weeks. And everyone's really excited on that day. I lost 12 pounds. I lost 14 pounds. I lost 18 pounds. Right? Everyone's really happy. That's the best time to upsell them. So everyone weighs in, and then he talks to each of them one-on-one, and he says, basically, you did so good, so happy for you, really concerned, though, that now that the challenge is over, you're going to gain the weight back without us. And that frightens me, and I don't want to let that happen. And so I think it's really important we really commit to each other for 12 months now to really lock in these habits and make that transformation for you at an identity level. So this becomes a new lifestyle. And what we'll do is the $497 commitment deposit you put down, we're just going to credit that to the first month and a half of your membership here. So your next month and a half is actually going to be free with the gym. How's that sound? Sounds great. Great. Sign here. 12-month contract. Done. Right? So he wanted a 12-month contract, and he got it. That was his whole goal. But he didn't start with that. He started with the cheese, the bite-sized commitment, right? The irresistible offer of calling it a free 6-week challenge, even though it's not. There's a commitment deposit, right? But if you lose the weight, it is free. You get your money back, which is what you want in the first place. And you're good. There is no reason if you partner with a good agency or if you're really good at delivering results that you couldn't model this exactly for what you do. What is the cheese that they want? What is your 20 pounds fat loss that your client wants? And make it a 6-week challenge or a 4-week challenge, right? Like a 6-week, 6 new clients challenge, right? We're going to do this work for you. And after we get you 6 clients in the next 6 weeks, we're going to give you back your $997 commitment deposit. You get it all back. Of course, once you get them 6 clients in 6 weeks, they're fucking excited. They don't want to end it with you. They want to keep working with you. And then you just credit the $997 towards them working with you after that, right? That's how you make this shit happen. Okay? So that is the offer. Next thing I want to talk about is what about inbound, right? Inbound chat. So we talked a lot about the cheese, right? We talked a lot about the cheese, and cheese is outbound for the most part. People don't know you, and like, just so you guys are aware, at this point, you now have the intel and the firepower to literally get a client whenever you need to. You ever need money, you know what to do. No one has to know who you are. You know how to do all of that from scratch. That is an unbelievably valuable skill. At the same time, as you're doing your social media, your credibility connection stuff, you may get people messaging you. There's some people in the Facebook group I saw who started doing it, and they actually had businesses messaging them already interested. And that's inbound. You didn't message them, they messaged you. It came in, it didn't go out, right? And so how do you deal with inbound chat, right? With inbound chat. And what I recommend for inbound chat is just a simple 3 boxes, right? So I'm just gonna put 3 boxes here. And the way I recommend you do inbound chat is like this. 1, 2, 3. Right. So someone messages you and they're interested, or they're telling me more about what you do, or I heard about this thing. Can you tell me more about that? Whatever it is that they say. First box is situation. So you would say something like, awesome, great to hear from you. Before I share with you that stuff, can you tell me a little bit about your current situation or where you're at right now? Right. Situation is code for problem. Right. Tell me about your problem. But we just say situation. They tell us about the situation. And then we go to the gap. So they tell us about their situation. We go, great. Thanks so much for sharing. Actually, I have a client right now, a very similar situation as you when they first started with me. I'm just curious, where are you at now and where do you want to go? How much money are you making now? How much money do you want to make? What is your weight now? What is your ideal weight? If you had to rate your relationship on a scale of 1 to 10, where would it be now? And where would you like it to be 90 days from now? We're just establishing a gap, right? And then they tell us, right? And then we go, great. Sounds good. I can totally help you with that. Want some help? Question mark. That's the life jacket, right? Want some help? That's my whole call to action, by the way. Want some help? And people usually want help, right? And at that point, let's say they say yes, right? Let's say they say yes, I want some help. What do you do from there? Here is what you do. Email agreement. Now the stairway to heaven we just talked about, we just transitioned into it. So they say, I want some help. You go, great. What's your email? I'd like to send you a quick kind of 2-minute video overviewing how this process might work. That's it. You just carry on exactly where you were before. Okay? Exactly where you were before. Cool. And then there's a couple things I just want to go over when it comes to the chat stuff. And so I think I've talked about this before. I know I have talked about it before with chat, but with chat, there's a couple things you want to keep in mind. Again, you want to text like a 14-year-old girl, right? In chat or SMS. And what that means is you don't type a big block of text like this all in one message and just keep going and saying things, and it goes on forever and the message never ends, and it looks like you put a lot of time and thought into this message and you're up to no good. That's what a big block of text looks like. It looks like you put a lot of thought in this message, it's premeditated, you're trying to sell me something, you're up to no good. That's what it looks like to people. Instead, you want to text like a 14-year-old girl, how do they do that? They do this. They go, hey, what's up? Where are you? Right? Where are you? You see that? Oh my God. Can't believe it. It's like every few words, it's send, send, send. That's how you want to chat. Exact same way, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is between each of these boxes, and you're like, how do I respond, Jason? I don't know what words to say, right? What we like to do between each of these boxes is, that's a terrible squiggly, whatever, is a very, very simple formula, which goes ask, feel, ask, show, feel, right? So I will do an ask, show, feel between each one. So I said, tell me your situation. That was me asking. Then they answer, my situation is blah, 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 right? Then I'm going to show, I'm going to feel, and I'm going to ask. So what am I going to show? I'm going to show know-how, right? How do we show know-how? We talk about someone else, like them, similar situation. All we want to do is demonstrate that they're not like imagine you have, I don't know, you wake up one morning and your arm is backwards. So imagine you woke up, your left arm is backwards, and you don't know why, right? You're like, it doesn't hurt, but it's backwards. This is really freaking me out. So you go to the doctor, right? What are you hoping? What would be a dream come true? You're hoping that that doctor has seen this before. What you don't want is the doctor to go, holy shit, never seen that before, because you're not going to trust his recommendation because he's never seen it before. You're hoping the doctor's like, oh, one of these twisted arm guys. I've had 3 of these in the last week. Come here, I got you. Right? That's what you want. And so when they tell you their situation, they want you to be the doctor who's seen many twisted arms before. So they say blah, 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 in situation, and you show know-how. You say, got it. My bad. I totally said these backwards. There we go. Yeah, I knew that looks wrong. Ask, feel, show, right? So they say, blah, blah, blah. Here's my situation. You feel and then you show. What do you feel? You just show empathy. That's what I mean by feel, right? How do you show empathy? You say things like, got it, or makes sense, or gotcha, or copy that, or Roger, or 10-4, or hear you, or totally understand, or totally get it. Any of those statements will work to show that you feel someone, right? So we just say that, send, and then we show, right? And the way we show is we say something like, I had a client who was just like that actually a couple months ago. That's it. That's all you got to say. It just sounds to them like, oh, good. He has seen people with a twisted arm before, right? Or my partner was working with someone just like you right now, right? Just anything that shows know-how, right? And then you ask the next question, which is the next box, which is gap. You ask them the gap question, and then they answer, and then you say, I hear you. That's feeling. Seen this a lot lately. That's showing. And then you ask, do you want some help with that? And they say, yes. And you go, great. What's your email? I'd like to send you a quick video overviewing this process of how it might work. Would that be cool? They say yes. They send you the email. You send them the email. You do that. And then you get the agreement, and you're off on a wonderful financial adventure together. Okay. Now, the last thing we need to talk about is the call, right? A lot of you are asking, what if we do the agreement and they want to get on a quick Zoom chat? They want to have a quick call, whatever it might be. Very, very simple. All you are going to do is two things we're going to do. All right. What I do on the call is I do this, right? The first thing is I get permission. I'll talk about this in a second. I get permission. I get the situation and the gap, right? And then I get permission again. And then I draw the model again. And here's what I do. So the call is very simple, right? I get permission. So the call starts, hey, how are you? How's your cat? Great, my cat is great too. So I thought it would be cool. Is it cool if I just ask you a couple questions first, just so we can get started, and then I'll show you what I'm thinking, and then you can ask me whatever questions you have. Cool, cool, great. Now I've gotten their permission, right? And then I'll go to step 2, and I'll go, tell me about your situation. It's the same thing. So tell me where you guys are at right now, right? And they tell you blah 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 blah, and then I feel, I show, and then I ask about the gap. Great. So that's what's going on. So how much revenue have you guys done in the last month, and how much would you like to be doing each month? I get a gap. Great. Awesome. So you're here and you want to be here. Cool. Got it. Is it cool if I pull up my whiteboard and I kind of show you how this might work? I think we can get you there. Yeah, sure. Great. That's permission again. Right. And then I go to step 4, and I will literally, you guys are going to laugh. I draw and say the exact same thing that I said in the Loom video. I just do it live with them on the Zoom call. Literally the exact same thing. I show them the proof, and then I draw the model, the whole little this. So this is you and this is us. You do nothing, we do everything. You get the cheese. Make sense? Yep, makes sense. And then I go to step number 5, and I say, great. So where do you think we should go from here? That's my close. Where do you think we should go from here? The other one I use sometimes is, so how would you like to move forward from here? They both say the same thing, very gentle yet leading, right? Where do you think we should go from here? Or, so how would you like to move forward from here? Or how would you like to begin from here? It's just such a good question. That's all I do on the call. These calls take 10 minutes. And I'm not dealing with small businesses. I'm dealing with, 9-figure businesses, 8-figure businesses, physical, brands that have 300 or 400 locations worldwide. Like, these are big companies, the big CEOs. This is literally the words that I'm saying to them. This is what we are doing. This is what a lot of my students are doing. And it works like fucking gangbusters. Okay. Someone said, so you stopped doing 45-minute strategy calls. Dude, I haven't done a strategy, like, years, of course. Strategy calls they're dinosaurs. This is all about messaging now. The world's about conversations, and not long drawn out conversations, right? And so I'm going to answer questions in a second, but I want to go over homework right now. Okay. So let's talk about your homework for the week. Number one, I want you to finish crafting your conversational sequences. So many of you, homework last week was to start them. I want you to finish crafting them. I want them ready to go, like in a copy paste in a Word document, a Google Doc, an email. So you just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. I want them just set to go. It's like a tree. So here's the cheese, here's the reply. If they reply this, here's the qualification I send them. When they reply that, here's the email I send them. Here is my checklist. When I record a video for them, I make sure to use their Instagram or their website in the background of the Loom, etc. It should all be sequenced out so you're ready to go. Bang. Next thing I want you to do, it's gonna be a fun one. I want you to make 5 practice cheese videos. Cheese videos being this step right here. The email video, the video that you email them, the Loom video. Right? I want you to make 5 practice ones and post your best in the Facebook group. All right, and we'll give you feedback. We're gonna give you happy feedback. Don't worry. All right, everyone's trying to make each other better. So you make 5, and then you put your best in the Facebook group. You'll probably find that your 4th or 5th one is your best one because when you get more reps in, you get better at things. Number 3. If you have something to sell already, start selling and bring me your freaking case study because you have everything you need to start signing clients up today. You literally start today. It's all here, right? You have everything that you need. And then the last one is, as you've learned, I want 10 more note cards out of you added to your daily database. 10 more note cards. Mm-hmm. All right. By this time, you're going to have 50 note cards and you're doing it every day, every morning, every night for a few minutes. You probably internalized almost all the note cards already up to this point, which is pretty damn cool. I asked at HSS how many SMBs were there and finding the note cards really helpful, like changing their, they were like, dude, these note cards changed my life, which I love to hear. And they are like all I do is note cards, right? They're amazing. Flashcards, they're the best. And so that's your homework. All right. You're going to finish crafting your conversational sequences. You're going to make 5 practice cheese videos, post the best one in the Facebook group. If you have something to sell already, you already know what you're selling, fucking let's go. Speed to money. You're ready to go. And then number 4, 10 note cards added to what it is that you are doing. All right. And so we have about 5 minutes right now. So if you have questions, I'll go through some in the chat right now. I'll see how many I can get to. Robbie said, so how do you set up the payment process to them properly? Dude, what you don't want is me spending time showing you how to set up a payment processor. You didn't pay me for that. There is literally 1,000 YouTube videos that will show you how to do that for free, tutorials. That's easy to find. How to set up a PayPal or how to set up a Stripe, that is free and that is out there. James said, do you think saying feel you is a little too informal? I don't say feel you. I've never said that. I mean, I think you'd be fine saying that. You actually would be fine. I say I hear you a lot. Hear you, roger that, copy that, that kind of stuff. Munib, I prefer Loom video. It just works better. Munib said, do strategy calls still work even though they're dinosaurs? Yes, of course they work. They just don't work as well. So you continue to knowingly use something that doesn't work as well to hit the goal that you've already told me you want, or you can adapt and use the thing that works better to get to the goal that you told me you want. Or you can knowingly not use the one that works better. I don't know why you would do that. Vlad said, can I use this tactic to sell fitness coaching to normal people? Dude, yes. Yes. It will blow your mind what is possible with this. Eli, we're going to talk about private labeling in episode 6. Just so you guys know, episode 6 is going to be me and Brett Knudsen together teaching it because Brett is like the OG of private labeling. You know, has a multiple 7-figure private label company himself and, you know, has started a company in Silicon Valley that was valued at $20 million, and a lot of private labeling there. Very, very involved in the back end of most of the biggest social media campaigns out there, including presidential campaigns. So he's going to be talking all about private labeling and showing you guys the ins and outs. So it's going to be great. Lee, is price part in the email video? Yes, I went over that completely. If you missed it, you'll watch the recording. Robert said, proposals, do people ever ask you to do that? I've never had anyone ask me to do a proposal. If they did, I would simply tell them, my gut would be to tell them no. But if I really thought they were a 5-star prospect and they were just outdated and they didn't know that proposals are blasé or passé, excuse me, then I would say, hey, we don't do proposals. If you'd like to have a quick Zoom chat about it, I'd be glad to do that. Like, that's basically what I would say. George, the answer is next week. If you've nothing to sell. Rochelle said, I already have their email from the Loom video and they end up being a 3 or 4-star. Do I need to ask permission to send them more emails? I want to add them to my niche newsletter for the long-term game. Yes, I would totally ask them permission again. Hey, so I'm putting together this private newsletter list where I'm sharing cheese. It's completely free. I know we've chatted and I thought it might be useful to you. Would you like to receive the newsletter? It'll come out 3 times a week. If yes, just reply to this email and say I'm in, and I'll automatically add you, and you don't need to do anything from there. That's what I would say. It'd be something like that. Brian Weiss, yes, we're going to be talking about private labeling next week. King David said, how did you post a story from the beach with your Gucci flip-flops 30 minutes ago and still provide us with value live? Because I recorded that story like a month ago, dude. That's how. Kathy, next week, you're going to start teaming up with agencies. Okay, it looks like we answered most of the questions here. Leo, you're going to partner with the agency first so you know what you are selling, and then you'll go through this process and sign up the clients. Lloyd, perfect. Alex, he said, as far as SMBs doing private labeling, does homework question number 3 apply to us? No, you have nothing to sell, so you can't do that yet. Okay. All right. So I think that is most of the questions, which is a really, really good sign. You guys have everything you need to get started on this. If you don't have private label, then of course, next week, we're going to cover all that. Brett's going to talk about his stuff, and then we're going to get you guys in the group, the Let's Make a Deal group, so you can start partnering up. So just really, again, finish crafting the sequences, make your practice videos, get good at the practice videos, post your best one in the group. If you have something to sell, start selling it and bring me a case study because you're ready to go, and get those note cards ready. And by next week, even for everyone else who's private labeling, you're right there. All right. So this is really, really exciting stuff. I hope you guys got a ton of value out of this one. Let me know in the chat. What did you like most about everything we covered here today? What was the thing that really stood out for you? What was like the thing that was most helpful for you? I'm just curious. Jacob said the stairways. Yeah. Sniff your way to heaven. That's what we're doing. Not literally. All right. It's a metaphor. The Loom videos, the finalization of the sale, the inbound chat sequence. Yeah. King said, I don't see how anyone could refuse a custom Loom video. I'm telling you, they can't, man. Especially like if it's a local business, like a normal business or an e-com business that's not super famous or something, like it's fucking irresistible. Okay. Irresistible. All right. Awesome. Everyone have an amazing rest of your week. I will see you next Monday for our next episode 6. Can you believe after that we'll already be on our last and final episode? It's crazy how fast this goes, but big things happen for a lot of you. I love seeing a lot of your success stories already in the Facebook group. Keep them coming. And I will talk to you guys next week. Until then, God bless. Take care.